Hi, this is your host. This book is called Lost American Recipes That Were Too Strange to Survive Until Now, and it's all about weird food history. Every once in a while, an author will reach out and say, "Hey, I wrote this book. It's really good. You should read it and maybe talk about it." And every time that happens, I have to say no. Not because I don't like their book, but because I get offered books every day. And if I said yes to every author, I'd be reading 24/7, which wouldn't leave any time for making videos or doing anything else. But every once in a while, a book comes along that I can't resist talking about, and this is one of them. So when author reached out and asked me to check out his book, I said yes. I devoured this book in a single sitting. It is so fun. It's full of amazing stories about bizarre foods that we either do and eat anymore or barely remember eating. Like, who doesn't remember Jell-O? Of course we do. But do you remember that Jell-O used to come in these little individual molds with cute shapes on them? Yeah, those things are back now. But during the 1980s, they were all the rage. And there's a whole story behind why that happened. Or how about bologna-flavored gelatin dessert? Yeah, this was a thing. In 1929, the Jell-O company wanted to capitalize on the popularity of bologna. And if you think that sounds disgusting, wait till you hear about the pickle-flavored gelatin salad dressing that was popular in the 1950s. And then there's the tale of the chicken wing, which wasn't exactly a delicacy when it first came out. In fact, the very first chicken wings were served as an appetizer at the 1964 World's Fair. They were breaded and deep-fried and served with a side of ranch dressing. But nobody liked them until someone added hot sauce. Then suddenly everyone went crazy for chicken wings. The author has a theory about why this happened, and it involves the Buffalo Bills and a misunderstanding about what a chicken wing is. I could keep talking about this book forever, but I want you to go out and buy it and read it for yourself. So here are 5 questions that I think you should try to answer while reading the book. No. 1. Have you ever heard of a Hoover salad? Because I hadn't until I read this book. And a Hoover salad sounds amazing. It's made of celery, walnuts, cream cheese, vinegar, salt, and pepper. I mean, sure, that doesn't sound all that interesting, but apparently it's served upside down. And what makes a salad good is putting the dressing on top so that every bite is exactly the same. So this would have been a perfect salad for someone like my dad. He always used to dump his croutons on top of his salad so he wouldn't miss any. Question no. 2. Did you know that Spam used to include real meat? Nowadays it's mostly just protein and flavoring. But back in the 1930s, they actually put chunks of ham into every can. Then during World War II, they ran out of ham, so they started using chicken and then switched to mechanical chicken. Basically, this is just a way of saying they stopped caring. No. 3. Did you know that the world's most expensive meat is actually brains? Yeah, brain is more expensive than Wagyu beef. Wagyu beef is only the second most expensive meat in the world. I guess it makes sense because brains are kind of hard to harvest. Question no. 4. What do you think is the best way to cook a lobster? Well, according to this book, the French do it best. They typically steam the lobster for 10 minutes, then plunge it into ice water. This stops the cooking process and makes the lobster easier to crack open. After that, they pop the meat into some hot butter and serve it up. Now, before you tell me that that doesn't sound right, remember that lobsters were originally served cold. We only started serving them hot after the invention of the steam table. Before that, people would boil lobsters, then throw them into a bucket of ice water to cool down. This made the meat a bit rubbery, but it also made it easier to crack open and remove. And to be honest, there's nothing wrong with cold lobster. It's just something we're not used to. Question no. 5. What do you think is the strangest dessert you've ever heard of? Maybe it's pickle-flavored gelatin salad dressing. No, never mind, that was disgusting. How about sweet watermelon pickles? Yep, it's a thing. Pickles are usually made from cucumbers, but almost any vegetable can be pickled, including watermelon. But here's the secret, pickling actually makes watermelon taste worse. This is because the acid in the brine breaks down the sugar in the watermelon, which produces lactic acid bacteria. And lactic acid bacteria is what's responsible for giving sauerkraut its sour taste. So yeah, sweet watermelon pickles are definitely a thing, but they're not a tasty thing. So if you like weird food facts and stories about strange recipes, then I highly recommend picking up a copy of Lost American Recipes That Were Too Strange to Survive Until Now. Thanks for watching. Bye.